This week on Down to Earth, a flat-pack emergency shelter for Syrian refugees. Iraq trials a solution that incorporates the very best of Swedish design.
What we see here is a prototype. It is designed this way, like an IKEA bookshelf, to be easy to transport and to be easy to set up in the field.
There's 45 million refugees and displaced people around the world. Many of them live in tents, not just for months, but years.
When it's windy or raining, we're afraid. We're scared and we don't sleep until the morning.
Today, dozens of architects compete for the best design. But there's no such thing as a perfect shelter.
The ideal shelter is your own house when you go back home.
This week we're down to earth in northern Iraq, 160 kilometres from the border with Syria. Every week, thousands of Syrians flee their homeland and end up mostly in camps like this one here in the region of Kurdistan. None of the 13,000 people who live here know how long they'll stay, surviving in flimsy tents that offer little privacy or protection. But a few lucky families have been given a world-first chance to try a flat-pack refugee shelter that some might just consider a house.
On refugee housing unit, we're using panels and not a fabric canvas. They're lightweight, around 1.8 kilo, same materials as you find in packaging or in car interiors. Protects from the heat and gives a better privacy. On top of it, we have a solar panel. It is big enough, to charge a light, to light through the night and to charge your cell phone. Other than that, we are having, ventilations, doors and windows, just in any house.
Johan sells the house well because it's his creation, imagined 3,000 kilometres away in Stockholm, Sweden.
What we see here is a prototype. It is designed this way, like an IKEA bookshelf, to be easy to transport and to be easy to set up in the field. So we have connectors, we have some pipes, and a bunch of wires.
Johan's project was financed by the IKEA Foundation together with the UN's Refugee Agency. 3 years of development and an investment of 3.3 million euros. 12 of the units were built here in Iraq last year, while others are being tested in Ethiopia. This is Johan's first visit to the camp, 3 months after they were installed.
Hello.
Long enough for the families living inside to give feedback on what's working and what's not.
The product is not fully ready yet. We are still working on it. Your input on this is very helpful and crucial for us in completing the design. Yeah? So negatives, what are the main issues? These are the most important for us. Yeah?
I can show you. The last time it rained, the water came in here, through the holes. You can see where there are screws. If you put something plastic in there, it could stop the water from coming in and solve the problem.
With no job and no way to feed his family, Riyadh fled Syria as part of a massive exodus of Kurds from the war-torn country. Along with his family, he brought his physically disabled mother. It was because of her handicap that they were chosen to trial these shelters after 6 months in a tent.
I saw they were building 12 of these shelters and I was hoping to get one. Every day I'm so thankful I was given one. I feel really lucky. For the first time in my life, I feel lucky.
This shelter is better because at least there's a door, and if we have people from the camp who come to visit, they can even sleep over a night or two. Here I feel like it's a home. I'm happy here, not like when I was in the tent.
The unit is designed to last for at least 3 years. For the moment, each prototype costs more than 5,000 euros, but Johan's target is 700 euros, approximately double the price of a tent.
Johan, this is your first time on the site here in Iraq. What are the people here telling you?
Well, yeah, what we hear is that people are actually perceiving the shelters as a home, as a house. And this is due to simple things that they're tall, you can stand upright into them. They have, thicker paneling walls, which gives them more privacy, a door which you can lock. These simple things, which I think makes a important difference between just a shelter and something that you can call home.
At the moment they're made by hand, but you want to produce them on a much larger scale.
Yeah, exactly. As sure as we can, be sure that they're performing as we want. Then we are, of course, aiming at producing them at a high scale, so we can, distribute them to, the thousands of people who are in need of a shelter like this.
At the same time, certain governments have been reluctant to even let you trial these shelters.
Yes.
Why is that?
That is a very good question. The main issue we have is that it may be perceived as a permanent home. We may think that's a very good thing, but for governments and landowners, they may be concerned that these, the refugees will stay forever, for long. So we are working very hard with, giving the performance of a permanent building, but still being temporary and being perceived as something temporary.
Temporary or not, all homes need light, and this shelter is flooded with it thanks to the solar panels which provide 8 hours of electricity each day. On the other side of the camp, the rest of the refugees survive in remarkably different conditions.
For the moment, most refugees live in tents like this. Not only here in Iraq, but all over the world, 3.5 million people reside in this type of emergency shelter. The design hasn't had a major upgrade in decades, and they don't last long, typically around 6 months.
And yet certain refugees can live in camps for decades. Emmanuel Gignac has worked in all kinds of emergency settings. In each case, it's hard to beat tents in the first instance. They're quick and easy to assemble, provide basic protection, and at €350 each, relatively cheap.
Tent is definitely the best item to use for the emergency phase. However, it is a temporary shelter. It keeps people in a state of precarity. It can burn very easily, and you need to replace it. So it's not meant to last forever. We give a tent for emergencies, first couple of months. And then after that, we have to think of another solution.
Since arriving at the camp last year, this family has lived under a tent. The canvas was damaged during Iraq's harsh winter. They've already asked for a replacement.
First they gave us a military tent, but that got torn in strong wind. For 7 months we've had this one. It's cold in the evening because the zip is broken, and at night we can't leave the heater on because we're scared that the tent will catch on fire. Sometimes I fix my tent after work. When I don't work, I spend a whole day fixing the tent.
It's worth maintaining this tent though, because imperfect as it may be, for now that's all they've got.
Sometimes water leaks inside the tent and it spreads and our furniture gets wet. When it happens, we're scared and we don't sleep until the morning. In the last storm, we didn't sleep at all because we went outside to help hold the tent down.
Today, more than ever, the UN Refugee Agency is turning to technology to improve the lives of displaced people. 2012 saw the birth of an innovation division created specifically to scout out new ideas. And there's no shortage in a budding market focused on emergency settings, both natural and man-made. This here is the EDV-01, a futuristic Japanese creation designed to be assembled in 4 minutes with the press of a button. 2 floors, a kitchen, bath, toilet. Price tag, undisclosed. An Argentinian designer is behind the compact C-Max, a fold-out shelter that's raised from the ground. For around €2,000, it can provide refuge for up to 10 people before being easily packed up and moved on. And this origami-inspired folded bamboo house was created in the wake of the 2008 China earthquake, a geometric structure hailed for its use of renewable materials. Very few of these prototypes have been tried on the field, which is why the Swedish project is one step ahead of the rest. Today, for the first time, UNHCR's Emmanuel Gignac has come to see the units fully assembled.
Hey, hello.
Hello, welcome.
And this doesn't require any special tools to set up?
No, the tool we provide with it is a hammer.
What are the next steps?
One of the benefits is the refugees can build these shelters themselves.
And then, of course, the testing very much.
I think they're on the right track. I think it's that's what we're looking for, things that are simple and yet solid, not costly, and you can build up yourself.
These units are not a miracle solution, because a miracle solution doesn't exist.
The ideal shelter is your own house when you go back home. But in the meantime, if we can offer something which is only a little more expensive than a tent, but which gives greater comfort over a longer period, that would be fantastic.
The Iraq trial will have its final review in another 3 months. In the meantime, another one will start in Lebanon, after the government initially refused the project out of fear that better housing will encourage the Syrian refugees to stay too long.